Good morning. First of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Mireia Laguna. I am a civil engineer and economist, and I work for Infraestructuras. Please excuse me if my English is not perfect, but I will do my best to explain you this clearly. ¿Cuál era? Ahí está. Okay. I have been working for more than 50 years managing large transport infrastructures, and during all these years, I have tried to improve the process of integral managing. From the first stage, when we plan the infrastructure, to the last one, when these infrastructures are handed over. For this reason, in the last years, we have started to investigate and study all kinds of collaborative methods to introduce in our daily management. Before starting, I would like to tell you more about Infraestructuras and what we do. It's important to understand how we want to introduce BIM in our company. Infraestructuras is a public company created in 1990, depending on the government of Catalonia. We are responsible of for the planning, building, preserving, maintaining, and operating all kinds of infrastructures and buildings. This is why we are involved in the whole process, from the planning to the maintenance of these infrastructures. In order to achieve our mission, we need to be connected with the needs of the society and also with the needs of most of the ministry. Infraestructuras depends on the Ministry of Economy. However, we also work with other ministries. We focus on civil works, engineering, and infrastructures. Our purpose as a public company is to manage specific projects and works while optimizing costs and deadlines, reaching high levels of quality while minimizing the impact on the environmental. And this is why Infraestructuras, for this purpose, decided to start introducing the BIM methodology 4 years ago. The main reasons why we wanted to introduce BIM in our company are the following. Summarizing, we want to have the best information to plan, design, build, and maintain better works in a quicker and a cheaper way. But it's important now, where are we nowadays? In his speech, the territory minister have already explained a little bit the first part, but I want to repeat the key points. Last May, the government of Catalonia approved a governmental agreement in order to create a commission to introduce BIM methodology in public works. The first challenges of this commission is to develop a white paper that establishes the global strategy in BIM for the government. This report has been commissioned to Construim el Futur. Construim el Futur is a group formed by more than 40 company organizations that deal with the BIM implementation in Catalonia. Infraestructuras, my company, also belongs to this commission, as well as Construim el Futur. My company, our first great test experience started in 2013 with this school. It was our first test trial in designer and later on in building. I passed very fast, but this is the build of our first experience. After this first experience, we started to consider this methodology as a scoring improvement among the technical proposals presented in public tenders. In order to do this successfully, we have to go through different stages. We have to define the scope of BIM methodology, to test and supervise pilot trials, to define the minimum BIM requirements, and to train our technical employees. Nowadays, most of our awarded projects and some works incorporate the BIM methodology as a non-mandatory improvement. And we are also planning to introduce it as a mandatory in our tenders in the following month. Now, a first notice. In fact, last week we awarded our first tender where we requested as a mandatory point the use of BIM. It's the first time we requested this one as a mandatory. Okay, I separate the building department to the civil work department because the stages are different in both departments. Here, this slide shows the state of the art of the building department. Building department has executed more than 5 designs and 1 work, and they are executing nowadays 19 designs and 9 works using BIM. We have established in all this experience the first requirements. We draft a new tender documents. We suggested the main objective and uses for BIM, and also we provide a basic codification and basic rules for modeling with revision guidelines. I want to show some images in these slides to all these projects and works that nowadays we done in BIM. There are assistance centers, 2 assistance centers. And in Civil Works department is executing nowadays 18 designs and 9 works using BIM. The problem is with all this experience, a difficult point has been revised that we have learned until now. Thank you to the large number of experience during these years, our building department has been able to extract different evaluations, both qualitative and quantitative, from the pilot trials. In design, we were able to visualize the model as a real object, to anticipate making decisions, to improve the coordination with all the project parties, to obtain statistics data, to improve energy efficiency. However, the most remarkable difficulty has been adapting the transition of the 2D from the 2D to the 3D modeling. And also we have problems with the teams because they are not using the different software. In bills regarding works, the most remarkable points are the ones shown in these slides. Since we are a little bit pushed for time, I will explain this part a little bit faster because I think the important thing is the conclusions. Lessons learned in civil works departments are rather generic, since the experience in design and construction are only a few, but we could summarize them in the following statements. The sector is starting to provide BIM without knowing exactly why they wanted for. This is a tendency to order BIM for no reason. The state of maturity in civil engineering is lower than in building. Perhaps software in some cases are not enough involved. The types of actions in civil engineering are a lot. For this reason, it's important to establish a plan of implementation based on real experience and identifying different typologies of works. I just explained where are nowadays, but it's important to ask the question, and now I would like to define the future general works line in building. Building department is working nowadays in works, in design, but the important thing, the ideal situation would be able to award the design and construction together in order not to lose information. For at least, the important thing is to have the BIM model unique. We are working with the ministries for this purpose. The Department of Building is studying how to involve the operator since the earliest stages. And we have already drawn up specific tender documents where BIM is requested as a mandatory. I just explained that the last week we approved the first tender documents where BIM is requested as a mandatory. Okay. The path for the civil works department to converge with building department is long. To do so, a detailed planning was made to achieve the same level in both departments in 1 year. The planning is divided in 4 stages during 1 year. Nowadays, we are completely finished the first one. The first one is initial workshops and preparations. And we are in progress with the second one, the pilot test. This is only for civil works. This part is completely finished, but in the first stage, we initially defined the goals. Also, we prepare our employees to review and to follow BIM models. We divided the training in 3 parts. The first part is management training. It's not necessary to be a modeler to understand BIM. The second part of our training is with a visualization software. And the last part is some of our employees have a modelization software training. Afterwards, we decided the designs and works to be the pilot test. I think the main goal in civil works is to have diverse typology of works and to test the different usage of BIM, from geometry or class detection, and also to facilities, maintenance, and including planning. For achieve this goal, we divide the typologies were defined by grouping works and designs having several specs in common. It is very difficult because it exists so many different kinds of civil works that to divide in only 3 categories, it will be difficult. But the 3 categories that we decided to divide these civil works are these ones: design and construction in metro and railways, urban design and construction, and civil design and construction. I passed fast some experience. This is for the first typology. This is a handicapped access here in Barcelona. This is a station, and this one is for only for one elevator for handicapped people. Okay, and now in the next phase, we are here nowadays. We decided the pilot test, and we started the meetings to define different points. We must define the teams, roles, responsibilities, definition of a stage, pilot tests and work schedules, definition of roles, definition of common workspace. Those documents will be part on the BIM executed plan to be defined once the pilot tests are developed. In the last row, you can see the different roles that we want to test in the different pilot trials. We try to the most number of roles possible. During the pilot test, several meetings will be held to analyze the intermediate roles and obtain the corresponding conclusions. And finally, during the implementation and plan stage, the previous stage will be validated. We will also revise the training system, the visualization system, software, collaborative technology, and data exchange between models. And most important, we'll be defining the BEP documents to be included in the tenders documents, considering the results of the past experiences. We will also define quality supervision checklist sheets to be filled in all the BIM models. By the end of this year, we expect to implement BIM in design and works for civil projects. We know it is an ambitious plan regarding goals and time, but we are sure the next year we will be able to explain the results. And finally, the main conclusion of my presentations are there. We have already come a long way in the introduction of the BIM methodology in our project. However, there is still a long way to do. In fact, our strategy is a top-down strategy, from the government to the private sector. We want to pull the whole sector to commit BIM methodology. We haven't waited for the industry to completely adopt the BIM methodology to start to request BIM in our tenders. It is important to define what we want BIM for. It's not a good thing to request BIM for no reason. As a tender agency, we need to define standard manuals, guidelines, to require the real information that we need in order to achieve our goals and objectives. We also need to produce documents on how to use and work with collaborative technologies. For this, I want to remark that last week we awarded our first tender where we request as a mandatory point the use of BIM. And I think it's the key point of my presentation. As a public company and a country, we need to work together with all the other public companies, civil society, and private companies to join forces. In these ways, we participate in all the commissions and committees existent nowadays. Also, we collaborate with private companies, introducing collaborative methodologies in several of our projects. There is no doubt that we have already overcome change reluctance. We know we need to change, and we have already started. BIM is not the future. Actually, it is not our present. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope I was be able to explain it clearly, and you have my contact if you need something else.